When sitting at the drum set, you want to have good posture, and how you set up your drums and your cymbals and your throne really impact the way that you play the drums. You want to be able to stay relaxed and reach everything very, very, very easily. When setting up the throne, you want the throne to be at a height to where you are straddling the snare drum and your pelvis is equal with the rim of the snare drum. If you sit too high and your legs are sloped at a more drastic angle, you only hit the middle of the snare drum. If you're sitting too low, where your legs are flat, or even your pelvis is lower than your knees, you will likely hit the rim of the snare drum instead of having the ability to hit the middle and the rim at the same time. With this height, you have the option of doing easy side sticks, center of the snare, and rim shots. This will give you the most options when sitting at the drum set. With your feet, you want to make sure that your feet are lined up, your knees are going the direction of the pedal, and you have several options when it comes to your foot being on the pedal itself. You can play with your heel down, like this. You can play with your heel up, like this. Or you can do a combination of the two. You will find your own way with what feels best. One thing that's very important to think about, though, when you're playing the kick drum is to remember that when you hit the head of the drum, you want to come off of it with the beater to give it the most resonance and the fullest tone. If you hit the drum and come off of it, it rings out. If you hit it and you leave the beater in the head, it dampens the drum very quickly. Now, that is a technique and that is a method, and it does produce a desirable tone if you don't flam, which is a quick double hit, on the drum itself. With larger kick drums, the head has a much slower movement, and so when your beater goes into the head is moving in a way to where the beater will hit it twice, and so that's something to be aware of. With the hi-hat, you want to approach it the same way with your foot as the kick drum. You can play heel up, or you can play heel down. Either way, you want to find consistency in the way that you're playing, and whatever feels right ultimately is okay. Now, with holding the stick, you want to find the fulcrum. This is the part where you get the most flexibility with the stick. Wrap your thumb, pointer finger around the stick, and then wrap the rest of your fingers underneath. It's the same with both hands. I like to wrap my hands around it and pull it back a little bit. I feel like I get more weight when I hit the drums, but I still have flexibility. I can move the sticks freely and quickly. Let's talk about a very basic type of groove. The basic type of groove that I like to start teaching with is the kick drum on beats 1 and the kick drum on beat 3. If our tempo is this, 1, 3, 1, 3. The next thing that I like to do is add the snare drum on beats 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a very, very, very basic type of beat. The next thing I like to add is the hi-hat, and I like to add the hi-hats on quarter notes. So the quarter notes with the kick drum and the snare drum will sound like this. So that's on beats 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Once you start to feel good playing quarter notes on the hi-hat, then you can move to eighth notes. Eighth notes double the amount of movement in between the snare and the kick drum. That's counted 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. It's how you count eighth notes. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now with a hi-hat, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 that's your basic drum beat.